The Lord wants us to not depend on our feelings. Everything I just addressed is what creates what you call feelings. Do you hear me? Yes. So all that catching feelings I've heard of. That's your drug supply. All right? That's drugs. You call it catching feelings. Those feelings are what I've been addressing all this time. Feelings. Chemicals create feelings. You cannot build anything good on feelings. They are fickle. Women have been angry at their husbands, very angry. Men have been angry at their wives, terribly, for something they have not done. Marriages have broken up for reasons that don't exist, except that the spouse feels they exist. I don't trust this man. I don't know. It's just. I don't know. I saw a short clip of I don't know which judge on some of these judge courtroom TV shows. I shared it with you guys before. I'll share it again for some. And the woman wanted to break up with her husband. Why? He's too nice. How? I wake up in the morning and he has made breakfast and brought it to me in bed. Was it a special occasion? No, he just does things like that. I am not comfortable. If I complete the thoughts, because this kind of person may be buttering you up for slaughter or something. I mean, who knows? Why is he so nice? Does he go shopping for me, wash it? No. I'm not used to this kind of thing. Has never hit me before. No. I want a divorce. You're laughing. Some of you have things like that inside you. You don't even know it. Yeah, some of you. There are women, how you know it? There are women that cause trouble because the man is peaceful all over the earth. Too much peace from you. Let there be war. I'm from a warrior bloodline. That's the line of blood that trickled down my mother's face when my father used to beat her. That's my bloodline. Whoa. What kind of boring house is this? What's happening here? I've been here this 1 month since we got married. I've tried to get him to raise his voice. He won't even raise his voice. Are you sure he's okay? Now, you could understand if before the marriage, she wasn't sure. I said, this man, he may not be in bed, he may not be able to perform. The man has proven himself. Oh, it doesn't still matter. There must be something else wrong. Maybe he'll be impotent within 3 years or something. Who knows? When someone is like this, so calm. I don't like calm. Madam, God has done again that which only can do. He has brought together a feisty, rambunctious, I won't say vivacious, rambunctious creature and balanced it out with a calm, level-headed creature. You want to burn down the house. You want fire to meet fire. You want to burn down the house. Where there is fire, there also always should be water. He is the water to your fire. You say, no, I want fire to fire. Is your head correct? Fire for fire. You give me, I give you. Give me, I give you. Give me, I give you. You give me, I give you 3. Bah, 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 bah. What is it? Is that what you prefer? You won't thank your God? You won't thank your God. Voices of your great-grandmothers and grandmothers speaking from beyond. Fight, 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 fight. Some are demons, I had no question. In the past, I always blame it on demons. But some, the woman, she's just looking for excitement. The man too. Men do it. All these things are both sides. Looking for some, from stirring of dopamine, of the Lord does not want you to live like that. He wants you to live based on His word. What did I say? Follow peace with all men, as much as life with you, okay? So peace is good. without which no man shall see the Lord. Oh, whoa. I won't see the Lord. No, I better get rid of this thing I like. Let there be peace. So, not something that I'll be happy on earth and unhappy later. So you begin to drop all these things you picked up from wherever. I'm not going into all the poisonous things we've seen and read and watched. Not even going to the perverse dimensions of darkness in this world that have seeped in. Oh, it's something you saw when you were 7 years old. There was a magazine. There's something I saw, a clip. There's so many enemies we are fighting. Now we've come against that when we've had our healing from oppressive spirits meetings. We've come against spirits that have to do with perverse sexuality. You know, you hear of things like rough sex, people who get stirred up from being handled roughly by a man, grabbed by the throat, shoved against the wall. That's what stirs her up. That's what stirs up some men. That's what makes them feel alive. Other than that, they feel impotent. For real. They feel impotent until there's violence. So they almost certainly have a demon that has come in. Or their dopamine triggers. That's their dopamine trigger. I hope you understand it. Now, in the past, when I've talked about this mostly, I talk about demons, spirits. But it's not just spirits. Your human body has the ability to trigger all sorts of things. You know how your thoughts can make you feel all sorts of things, hear all sorts of things. Someone can talk to you, said something, and you thought they said something. And you already start feeling the impact of what they said. Till you heard some, you ask, what did you say? Or you left there, all the world is crashing around you. And then you ask the person you're working with, why did so and so say that to me? And the person say, what did he say? Didn't you hear when he said I'm lazy? Say, no, he didn't say that. So he said it. Why do you think I've been moody for the last 3 hours? He said your eyes were hazy. Hazy. When he did like this, it's in English, it means like your mind is wandering somewhere off, as though you're looking as you were in a fog, a smoky this thing. If it wasn't hazy, he said glazing. Your eyes are glazing. He didn't say your life is lazy. That's not what he said. All the emotions you felt in association with what you thought, all. That's why you can tell two people the same thing. You can say to someone, don't behave like noodles. And the person says, say how? Now, you're walking as though your legs will break. Perfect peace in paradise. Nothing is wrong on earth. Then you say to another person, they start hating you. You don't get to understand it for the next 3 years. You don't know that they've told that person since they were young. See your bones like you won't eat. See your bones like noodles. You better go eat. And this person hits their body. Hits it. It's always wearing trousers, long things, wants to cover, doesn't want any part of their legs because I'm so thin, I look breakable, carries this around in their head, and then here you came and said that someone, you didn't even think of it before. It's because there was a shirt in front of you written noodle, and you said, and you look at how you crossing your leg like noodles. The other person would have laughed. Doesn't mean a thing. This other one hates you from that day. Hates. The same words, the same intention from the mouth of the one who said it has never occurred to the person that you're thin. Doesn't occur. The person just... But the emotions triggered by the words, the emotions, take note of what I'm saying, the feelings. When you are a feelings-led person, not a word-led person, you have your mixed bucket of feelings, positive or negative. That is how someone that is a quack can deceive you too. Why it is so easy for girls that have not experienced love, and even guys, to fall for anyone that seems to show them a little love. is because, oh, this one must love me. Hey, Angelina, how are you? Yeah, I've been thinking about you all night long. I'm telling you, for the past 3 days, I haven't been able to focus. You will laugh like it's not you I'm talking about. Angelina, my angel. Bah, head knock. Bah. Just everything falls apart. I've told you, this third guy has said Teddy. What do you call him? Teddy. His name is Theodore, but Teddy. This Theodore guy. What is his full name? Theodore Mwabusi. Sugar Mary Kay. All him. They say, oh, hey, girls, what's up? I'm Teddy. Teddy's in the house. Who Ted? If you know how much he hated his name when he was a boy. Anyways, Theodore, you are his next catch. Do you know why guys hunt girls? Dopamine and sex. But sex triggers dopamine in the most massive volumes. That is why sex is so enjoyable. Dopamine, that one is just pumping it. Normally, it's just a small dose. Pim, pim, pim. Dopamine is a dopamine flood. Understand? Is it helping? Understanding will help you. Understanding will help you. Now, Teddy, I was saying that the reason that we imagine that the same thing that people feel when they are doing sexual things is being released from picking your phone, from talking to someone, a little, very small amount. Then sex is one that triggers the greatest amount. So you can see it's the same chemical, but just in different degrees. So if you're led by your dopamine supply, sorry. Why do guys hunt girls? Dopamine. Not just the act of, but what the thrill. What do you call that thrill? That thing you're feeling before. That thing. That's why they can be going after 4 different girls at the same time. Sometimes because, oh, this one doesn't have my time. She's not going to supply me dopamine. This one will not, so I have to have this extra dealers. Are you understanding? Girls don't feel and are not as big sometimes on dopamine as they are on oxytocin. They have dopamine issues similar to guys, but they also have oxytocin much more. Guys don't go around as much, except with regards to money and all that, for their oxytocin supply, but females tend to turn to guys for oxytocin supply a lot too. Right? Okay? But you also notice sometimes you hear of women who, because they are less driven by the other, women who are settled financially. Have you heard this career-driven women, how sometimes they can just flash the idea of men? Are you understanding? So their career is their oxytocin supply. Is this making sense? All of these feelings, I've shown you at quite some length the opposition to the breath of the Almighty. So you are driven constantly by either your feelings or the Lord's voice, the word of the Lord. The person who makes a choice to be powered and motivated by the word of the Lord is the wise person. Why? Because it is settled forever in heaven. Issues concerning the word, but issues concerning your chemical factory. When you die, it has shut down. And you can be in so much trouble that it's shut down too. It is wisdom for us to not depend on our feelings. I want to give us some things that, now make sure you don't ask me, if you're asking questions, don't ask me many questions about these feel-good chemicals. I'm not a doctor. Or you can ask a little, but don't ask too much, as though I've studied it that much. I've learned a little, the rest, the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit is teaching me. When you confirm it, you see it's true. So, but just know. I mean, I've just looked at a few minutes and the rest has come as I'm preaching. The God who created it knows. If we are driven to carry out actions, no more carry out actions based on your chemicals, your feelings, your drug supply. Do not. From now on, don't trust those feelings. All those silly Disney, Hollywood combo statements that, oh, follow your heart. In fact, you deserve what you get. That if you believe, follow it, say. Oh yeah, where has your heart led you to so far, young lady? How many men has it led you to? The scriptures tell you the heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Hollywood says follow your heart. You better make up your mind. I have a ton of things to show you. Mending Marital Meandering. I've saved you from, we've just finished looking at one big one. Because this chemical thing will meander you in a million wrong ways. Once this is in place, you can get rid of 90% possibly of contenders for your heart, male and female. You can just drop. And those that are left in the future, in your life, as God brings you across people to help you zoom in. Are you hearing me? Oh, she's tall and dark, slim, and she's this. She evokes memories. You know that thing that makes that man attracted to that woman, that lady that looks like that. He doesn't even know that it's because she reminds him of his mother. Oxytocin. Mommy is safe. Mommy is safe. Mommy is safe. She looks like she will be a safe woman to live with. Nah. She's a tiger. You will find out when she snarls. Hey, Mr. Man. See. I'm not ready. See, let me tell you something. I'm not those kind of women. I'm not, so they even see. I don't know what I did. Let me be clear, Charles. Hey, Charles, listen. You were drawn. She's a strong woman. She's a lioness. And you have entered half chance. Half chance. Yes, sir. Already you were pathetic to behold. Now you are. Oh, Charles, what did you do to God? Did you do God? Oh, Ete. Let's not make the mistake. I never do. I try not to make the mistake. It's a woman problem. Don't be silly. Wretched men all over the earth. Wretched, especially in the last 30 years. It's become so bad. So bad. She hunted you down. You don't understand. Lionesses hunt. The lion just shows up to rah, rah. He contributes a little, but lionesses, they gang up. They're powerful. They help chase it towards the light. They do a lot of the hunting. She hunted you down. You didn't know you were being hunted. Because He stalked you, cornered you, and pounced. Sometimes. And if that happened, as has happened many a time, if she's a good lioness, fine and good. But if she's a dangerous thing, sorry, sir, you should have not been led by how firm, how bold she was. She was bold. Bold. Men can also be disarmed completely by a bold woman. All over, men have been conquered by bold women. He would have liked Neka. But Patricia is a go-getter. When she may have even gotten him just to spite Neka herself. Neka, did you take permission from your queen mother? Before? Okay, watch me. Bah! She flips into action, uncovers her leg. He's gone. How are you? Child, sorry, I need to get something. She's in your face. Her perfume, you can't understand. Did they mix in an aphrodisiac? What is it around her? I feel this. I didn't say she doesn't speak in tongues. Though. But someone told her that to be a root. And whatever other baggage she's carrying. But she can yank you straight out of the line of sight you had with Neka, whom the breath of God was speaking. She can drag you right out. Marry you. Almost bought the ring. Well, she gave you the money. Now, you know my thoughts. Remember I said I'm going to presume many things. You know my thoughts about marriage. I don't believe all that stuff. The man must bring all the money. I don't believe any such thing. I believe the man should bring everything possible. But if the woman has, I believe she should. If the man needs her help, that's all. After all, when you marry, you're to be a helpmeet. So, but that mindset that a woman should not bring anything, even if the man doesn't have. So if there's no money to rent a venue anymore, and you have money saved away, say 600,000, you not bring it, you must die alone. Those are the things that will destroy his trust in you too. You've already started depleting oxytocin before you even marry. Many women wonder why men can be worked up. Oh, oxytocin, you don't supply any. Why does he always call it his mother? You heard what pastor said. You heard how much pastor hates it. He calls his mother because she supplies oxytocin. From that time I discovered you had 600,000 in your account. Madam. Jesus deliver me because that we are married already. My God. I almost went mad with worry. Looking for 300,000. You had it hidden away. Wow. Now he won't say it like this. He may not even say anything. But women, are girls guilty of this? Are wives guilty of these things? I mean, people have found people with houses. Houses, landladies. You didn't know you married a landlady. You're clueless. Meanwhile, she goes around and sets your authority over all your own tenants. And she's a landlady. You're clueless. Yeah, you have killed the source of oxytocin. You went to the source and blocked it with rocks. It's not the tap you blocked. It is the source. You want him to trust you. No, he doesn't trust you. Doesn't trust you at all. You made sure you're not to be trusted. There are women like this all over. You're hearing me. You're going to have to start changing fast. And some are thinking, no, me if I have something, I'll tell my spouse. Sometimes it's not that you have something, some you have nothing. And that's what he doesn't know. He thinks you have something. And you have nothing. He doesn't know you've created this terrible situation and kept. So you must be careful. Now, can these things be resupplied? Yes. If they've dried up, you can resupply them. Where will you get them? Can there be dopamine in your marriage? Yes, absolutely. Can they be? But that's after you marry. You guys will gather and come out. tell you. I'll teach you about this one. You're not married. That's why you're here. Or I'll discuss in couples cluster. Dressing does have a part. But one reason why I think it's not wise. You see, the Bible is very wise. It said, let your beauty not be the outward. Because the man who came to you just because of your dopamine transmitting influence is a dopamine freak. So when he sees another supplier in his office, why are you shocked? When it's dopamine, he used to drag him. If you had supplied oxytocin, the inner beauty of a meek and quiet spirit. No, my wife, no, you can trust her. Oh, that girl in my office. Very, very, very dependent, very stable. The wife material. You've heard these stories from unbelievers. Wife material. Not because of how she looks. He takes her and can make her look pretty according to his taste. But you who prioritized dopamine. And then here you are acting all shocked that his eyes wander, that he suffers from wandering eye disease. Sorry. Ted. What? No, see, there's a fly that was squatting on this window. Are you understanding me? May the Lord help you. May we be free. I think we are going to pause and pray about chemicals and drug use. Get off drugs. You're going to have to get off your drug addictions. Maybe we should keep it all for the end. Maybe we should keep it all for the end. I don't want to disrupt anything. Let's keep it for later. Get ready to start writing. There's a nice book here which I have not read, but I saw it some time ago, and I think it summarizes a lot of beautiful things. Why is it important that we are looking at mending marital meandering? I don't want anyone here, especially those that are under my care, to meander themselves into a horrible marriage, or after they've come into a marriage to be meandering around and not know their left from their right. I want us to be focused, steady, consistent people. God wants you to be steady. 2 levels of meandering before marriage. So you meander right past those God wants you to settle with. You meander past everything, male and female. You meander your way around them. You're not able. Even things God would want, you are mixing, you are messing it up. God wants this to stop. That's why you're here. Are you hearing me? And then, if and after you marry, within your marriage, we don't want marital meandering. All this triple-mindedness. Some people are not double-minded. They are quadruple-minded. Their mind is everywhere. There's these 7 guys that are interested in me. There are these 5 girls I'm thinking of proposing to. Whichever one of them will take it. Dear God, man, may the Lord forgive you. May He find it in His heart to forgive you. So what if 3 of them agree? I'll now pick any of and leave them in the lodge. And how do you leave them? What chemical do you leave them with? What's that food chemical? What's that unhappy chemical? There's an unhappy chemical. No, it's not. Serotonin is for pain. Don't worry. See, listen to me. You've left her. She literally goes and starts drinking so she can get serotonin released into her to numb her pain. And you're happily married, dancing. See, I find it easier sometimes to forgive females for doing stupid things. Because they are their own chemical factory, I think they are larger. Men, the way God created us, Our chemical factory doesn't pump as much. So be very careful. At least not as easily. The female don't pump a certain way. You go and propose to 5 girls. And you say, which one like you? You're checking 5 girls. Nothing for the breath of God. Nothing for the word of the Lord in your life. Nothing. Nothing. You're a Christian. Talk to this one, talk to this one, talk to this one, talk and keep. You're dangling them on strings in case any of them will walk. Stop it. That's why God can't speak, sir. It's like, oh, you can do it. Puppet master. Okay, fine, do it. If you will cut these strings, set free your captives, maybe the maker of heaven and earth can bring a woman to you. And she's not among the 5. Or she may be. But how can it when you have all this plan A, B, C, D, and E? When there's the Spirit of truth who can lead and order the steps of your Eve across your path, where you can say, you be mine. Are you understanding this? Men, it's wickedness and a sin to be aiming for a drum of oxytocin with your spouse while leaving someone with a drum of suicide-inducing chemicals. You dare not. Do unto others as you want done to you. You all can be and will be people who enter into God's intention smoothly. Amen? Number 1 reason, well, you've written many things, but just why you should study about marriage before marriage and in marriage is because of how important marriage is. I already said it earlier on. It is the basic building block of the earth, of society. And also, it is God that established it. And everything God established, Satan tries to spoil. Are you understanding? So you must study the Maker's Manual, the 66 books of the Bible, to derive what wisdom, and then listen to the leading of the Holy Spirit who authored the scriptures. This is why we must study marriage according to the will of God. In the book of Matthew chapter 19, it points out that some people are not married, or are not to be married, or may not be married. I've always spoken about this very directly all these years. There are people listening to me now that may never get married. It may not be the Lord's will for you to marry. It's good to hear the breath of God. Have you heard me? I spoke about prophets earlier. God can tell you, let me be your husband. Serve me, and I'll give you all the dopamine and oxytocin you want. Are you understanding? All. Do you think those times you're in the presence of God and you feel so good, that thing that makes you cry and become mushy and all that, you think God lacks dopamine? Have you felt good in the presence of God before? Have you felt like not living? Have you felt happiness and expectation? We are going to church. We are going to church. So what do you think that is? Now, do you know you could have an increase of that to levels that are, you pass out? The one who puts small factories inside your body, I think he has, the Lord of that drug is your God. And so what does it say? You say you wanted, hey, in marriage, in marriage, that, the excitement, I can give you excitement that can kill you. God would want you to know. Oxytocin, trust. You want to feel that you can trust in God. Have you met God? Have you come to the level of trusting God? There is no one like him. If you trust God, his own, this one, and his own is not theory trust. All this human trust that they fail you, and you have been failed. No. God is so dependable, you can step out. The other day, in a birthday, this thing for my dad, his 77th birthday, Dr. Udoh was there. And my mom is telling a story, I'm hearing for the first time, how years ago, how she met the wife. So my mom's been prayer partners with Dr. Udoh. There used to be 5 leaders, intercessors for Nigeria years ago. 5 of them, Mecca and Wampa, others. Dr. Udoh was one of them. And 2009 had an accident, so it was limited. He's not been, as God helped him, he should have died. But, so he came for the birthday. But my mom, our family have known each other since I was a boy. And my mom and his wife were teaching in the same school in the back. So they've been prayer partners for 35 years. 33? What did they say that day? 30 something years. Since the 80s or earlier. I do the math. All right. So they were in the same school. And he was Dr. Udoh is not a PhD, he's an MD, a medical doctor. He was working with Ajib, an oil company. You think he'd probably be comfortable, right? Good. He got up and resigned from it, walked out of the job. God said I should leave the job. She left the job. So you see how you go and marry Mr. Stableman. Mr. Stableman. And Mr. Stableman listens to God. Yes, Lord. Darling, you need to move to a village. What shall you do? See Rashid. That's not his calling. See Rashid, they go. Rashid recently moved to VI. Banana Island, to be precise. That's where he's living. And you are looked down on Rashid because Mr. Stableman. Both of them are Christians. Both of them are serious with God. Yes, I'm not saying you should not. I'm saying, what if God wanted you married to a Rashid whose ministry gifting is music? And you can sing, and you have really enjoyed that kind of Christianity, leading in worship, crying. Mr. Stableman has a teaching ministry, pastoral come teaching, but not in cities. Why are you people laughing? You don't have it. Mind yourself. No, not teaching pastoral. I don't like that one. Evangelistic ministry, rural evangelism. Your life becomes rural rugged. This is not youth service rural rugged. It's your whole life. How do you know that Mr. Banker Stableman, that's not his future? You can't be using your head, ignoring the voice of God. Don't ignore the voice of God. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being married to Banker Stableman. You may end up like Heidi Baker, used of God, powerful, healing, awesome, food multiplying, the grace of God in unbelievable ways, angelic visitations, heavenly visitations, all that. You may have so much dopamine, you're almost there. I'm not questioning any time. I'm just saying, you that makes up your mind with your head, what do you know? Did the Omega tell you how it will end? That's why it doesn't tell us many things. He wants you to just trust me. That's all. You see, it doesn't have to be, oh, my marriage ended up being so bad. It doesn't have to be bad. I'm just saying, don't be the one trying to run and scheme too much. All these are scheming. You may not end up in as exciting a place as you think. That dopamine you're feeling is because you think this is what you're going to catch. What happens when that's not what you end up holding? You get there and it was a hologram. That's why you can't be led by feelings. Because that thing you think will satisfy you and resolve all your needs. Who told you it will? Only God can do this comfortably. Now, back to Dr. Udoh. He resigned his job. He stepped away from the job and was at home. And would go around praying and just doing the will of God as he was led. What happens when you've gone from this life to this other life now? Fast forward. She said, my mom tells the story about how, because I said, my husband said that God says he should go to Israel. How? Does he have money? No. So God can just tell us. So my mom, who had been maybe born again for about 4 or 5 years, said, okay, is that how it happens? Next thing, the wife comes and said, what? My mother asked, what about your husband? He said, he traveled. He's in Israel now? Yes, so how? He went to the airport. Someone said, God said I should give you this money. And gave him the money and walked away. So he used it and went to Israel. You don't understand that he packed his bag and went to the airport without any money. Does your brain understand that kind of thing? Thomas is here saying no, it's not possible. That's your problem. That's your problem. Now, you don't tell a man like that, or a person like that, who has experienced some of these things. I've experienced some of these things, a little here, a little there. It's fantastic. Your oxytocin levels are steady. No, God said we should. Oh, okay, all right. Okay, so we'll be having a retreat. Some of you have been around, you just don't know what you're saying. You know you're going to spend 500,000 in the past. You know you're going to spend something within the range of 200,000 naira, of which you have none. There's a total of 15,000 naira in the account. You have a family to feed. A family of 4 people. They eat 15,000 naira in a week. How are you? This retreat, how will you do it? There must be something in you that trusts. I'm trying to explain these chemicals in the light of God. In the light of our relationship with God. Don't think God does not supply it. Are you understanding? The excitement of being in the Lord's presence. That thing. So it's not that God is not the God of feelings. It's just that he's the God of proper feelings. And the devil takes this thing which God put in us and abuses it like any other thing. You know how food is nice? But the devil will tell you, keep eating. Your stomach feels like it's going to burst. You're in pain. And you keep gorging. You know it, yes? Yes? You're physically feeling pain from having eaten a lot. And you're still, let me just, like Ekbezu, a lion. God gives us things, wants us to enjoy things, experience things. God created sex. So if there's an excess dopamine rush during it, then God doesn't mind. However, like any other thing with God, he wants it done in moderation. He wants all things in moderation. God doesn't want anything controlling you. He wants you to be happy, but in this world and at this time, because of sin, also be sad. Why did he say you should go to the house of mourning? For your dose of the requisite chemical. Are you understanding? He doesn't want you a disbalance. Who takes drugs? Who are the people that take drugs and do all sorts of things and become like mad people? People who want to feel good all the time. You see the problem? That's why a young lady who is born again, a young man who claims to have an iota of fear for God, will be in the house of God disobeying, having hidden relationships. She's looking for her dopamine rush. She's addicted to drugs. He's addicted. He doesn't want to give up his drug habits. And God is saying, stop it and take it from me. And saying, no, I don't trust you. And I'm saying, God can be your supplier. That man that could go to the airport and be taken care of, that could there continually as a lifestyle, trust in God and see God's hand moving left, right, and center continually. I can assure you his oxytocin needs are met. His oxytocin comes straight from the maker of heaven and earth. Are you understanding? When your oxytocin comes from the maker of heaven and earth, so you can look at people and say, it's okay, it'll be fine. Oh no, let's go ahead. And you call it faith. Say, how did she know? What kind of risk was that? Me, I couldn't do it, oh. Because you don't get oxytocin from God. You get it from account numbers. You get it from saving. You get it from piling up things. You get it from everything except the main source. That's where you get your oxytocin. So that's why you must have all this financial planning. That's why you must do all these things. Your trust, your source of oxytocin is from the amount of your bank balance, your bank balance. But the one who has learned to get their oxytocin from the maker of heaven and earth will obey anything he says. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Honey, God said we should give our card to Mr. Evangelist. And madam, if she has grown in grace, or even if she has not, but she has grown to trust her husband. She has seen God lead him all these times. Major wahala women have in their marriages, not trusting God and therefore not trusting their husband. I've shown it to you at different times in 1 Peter 3. He said, don't be afraid. The opposite of this oxytocin is fear. Mind-crippling fear that makes you fight back because you don't trust. If your husband does these things about to do, you guys will be stranded. One of the greatest blessings I've had in my wife is that I can do, and she doesn't stand in my way. I can step out in faith, and she doesn't raise a ruckus. That must be one major reason God told me to marry her. There are others, but major reason. Someone could be good in certain ways, this and that, and be terrible whenever it comes to trusting God. Terrible. So there are people who don't trust God at all. Or really, it's not God. They will say they trust God. They don't trust their husband. So I'm going to comply and with you in the matter of finance. Now, some people, they trust in one area, they don't trust. People trust in the area of finances. I haven't had nearly any trouble at all from my wife. And it's such a great blessing. If you live the way I live, and I've lived, you would, some of you, I would die, maybe. Say, no, wait, we have to come. Wait, we are together. Hey, we are partners in this. Wait. So how much do you say? Okay, wait, let me see. So if you remove 10, 20, how much will now be left? So what will we now? I've had 0. All she knows is to write the market list and give me. Where it comes from, she had never bothered. She doesn't go into calculating into the future, into the past. At all. Again, most of you would have given me a heart attack. Because you go. See, God gave us brains for thinking. We have to be careful stewards. All me I will ask is, have you ever been hungry? The answer is no. Why don't you get out of my face? Have you ever been hungry? Since you might be no good. Step away. Now I know there are women that have been hungry. So let's not speak judgmentally. Hey, people have suffered. Father, heal them. Amen. Heal them. Some of you have come from where your mother, there's been hunger and pain and sorrow and all that. And that has built a stronghold of fear. And that's why you hide and hide and hide. You always have a private stash. So it's made you a liar. It has made you a this. It has made you a that. May the Lord deliver all of you from disaster husbands. Amen. May the Lord deliver all the men from stashing wives. Amen. Whom you have not failed, but they still categorize you. Say, no, you can never trust me. No, you must have your plan. You must keep your plan. And you die with the plan. What do you think will happen on the other side? What do you think would happen when it's on the other side? Let's say you died in an accident together. Let's pretend the judgment, that first temporary judgment. Yes, so, madam, picture being 2 of you standing. Said, no, we want to stand as a couple. Your husband said, your wife will say, no, go one by one. Your husband said, my Lord, please, we've always been together in this life. Mr. Husband, are you sure? Yes. Okay, we are incorporeal. Okay, no problem. All right, well, there are a few outstanding things, not so much this and that, but madam, There was the matter of the times many times you've disobeyed me regarding money. The husband wants to interrupt and say, oh no, actually, she leaves all money matters to me, and the Most High lifts his finger. Nope. Hold on. Don't interrupt. Yeah. So I'm saying the matter of shall I use a real example? Like recently, how much did woman say? 42,000 pounds. Who wants to calculate? I think about that. 47. I can't remember. Someone do 47,000 pounds to Naira right now. How much is that? But calculate at 1,200 a pound. 47,000 times 56.4 million naira. So she started saving earlier on in her life when they married, in case he left her. Oh, I think I'm mixing up the numbers. I can't remember the amount. I think maybe it was up to 100 pounds. I can't remember. 100,000 pounds. It's big. But they've been married for, I think, 47 years. I think that's it. I think so. And she was saving in case he leaves her, and he never left. They stayed married. And she doesn't know how to tell him that she has very much money. He's very much, and she has hidden it all these years. The money is so much that she has a problem. How do I tell him? I would say in English, since you guys live in the UK. But that's a terrible thing. So like I said, what if this accident happened before she? Yeah, so there's a matter of, the 100 and something million you have kept hidden from your husband. I don't. And the husband looks at the. Sorry, who did you say you are? He's talking to the. Is the angel in charge? Is it that the air in this place makes you people high? My wife. 120 million. Till he sees her and she's looking down. Jesus. Jesus. Someone that is dead in spirit form has a heart attack. Don't make your husband start asking, please, is she entering? Because I want to be where she is not. Is her name, please check, is her name in the book? Is she entering or is she going downstairs? Because one of us must go downstairs. What a thing. Landlords. God forbid. God forbid this. God made marriage. He created it to be a picture of Him and the church. There's a big plan that involves the church and Christ Jesus. Man is to exemplify it in their own unions. When the day or the time comes, Christ will bring about the fulfillment. Satan is trying to spoil the picture completely. Satan is trying to destroy the picture of marriage. He hates the picture. It tells him about what is coming in the future. Is this clear? It reminds Satan of the fact that someday God is going to have a bright company. A bright company who will be very powerfully ruling by the side of the Lord Jesus. So what does he do? He tries to tear this picture and say, marriage doesn't work. Marriage doesn't work. Marriage is useless. Marriage doesn't work. You have places like the United States of America where the woman is marrying the man sometimes just to collect his money. Sometimes. Terrible thing. Everywhere in the world, but sometimes it's worse in some places. And you see them suing. The full mindset that when we divorce, I'll take half of everything you have. I think that's a wicked woman. You met the man. He had 50 million already. You sue him. You try very hard to take 25 million. He already had. He didn't build it together. Come on. If they gave you 5 million, you could live like a small queen till you died. Why must you take 25? So that was the plan. So there are those who do this. That means all the time while you're smiling and kissing and acting, I'm in love, I'm in love. It's all bad. So you have husbands and wives signing a prenuptial. That's what they call it, a prenuptial agreement. Let's sign an agreement. If in the event of our separating, you will take only whatever I give you. You will not take more than $1 million. Imagine building a marriage on such a foundation of mistrust. How is that meant to work? How? How is that meant to work? We are not called to be mistrusting of our own spouse. That's the person you should trust the most. So to be untrustworthy is treachery in marriage. God created marriage. Satan wants to destroy marriage. So he fights it horribly. All over. What are the ways he's fighting? Do I need to tell you? Transsexualism. Before that, it was feminism. Before that, it was just crazy equality pictures. Just destroying the difference between male and female. That's the aim. Everything from drugs being developed. So a woman can take in and abort it without, just not get pregnant, if I may put it that way. Or worse still, abort it after it's taken root. All of that done quickly and done easily. I told you it's never been possible in the earth till the last 30 years or so. It's never, ever, 40 years or so, never been possible for a woman to take in, except by aborting in a way that her life was at risk. She could die herself. So many people used to die from abortions. Very many people died from abortion. But all of that stopped when the pill was invented. I've told you about the pill. It was prophesied before it came into existence. The servant of God, Bob Jones, in 1975 saw it. God showed him different things. Showed him the smartphone. And he said, I saw Chinamen, people from Asia, standing in the rice paddies, watching a TV in their hand. That's what he said. He said they're holding TVs in their hands and watching them. 1975. There was no mobile phone. Even the biggest, ugliest one, there was nothing. And he also said, I saw abortion being carried out with a tablet. And the people said, at the time, when he was saying this in the 80s, years later, they said, how is it? What you're saying is not possible. Do you know what an abortion is? He said, I saw it. So when it came to pass, he saw in 75, when he died, he had an experience, he died. Then God brought him back to life. So when he saw these things, he was... Now, everybody, of course, saw it, but he had prophesied it already. So many things. So the enemy has very actively and very deliberately made people able to accomplish things that before now they could not. So they call it sexual freedom. Women always held back themselves. They were always the ones who could restrain, could say to the man, no. when God now, but they enter what they call sexual liberation. The 60s, 70s, 80s, it became really bad. Then going forward, so the earth has never seen a time like this, where a woman can be, in quotes, sexually free as a man. All this is the devil's attempt to destroy the need for a woman to only take in the context of a marriage with a man who has settled down with her. Because with the extra mouth to feed and all the aches and pains of responsibility for a child, the best picture, the accurate picture is a stable man next to a woman who cares, while the children, the enemy has worked very hard with the love of money, running after money. So even if the woman is there to have the child, she takes it and gives it to someone else to take care of. You know, it's really been an active and constant effort at destroying how homes were supposed to be. You should be aware of it. 21st century denizen of the earth. Be aware of these things and stop agreeing to everything and saying, no, this is modern times. You should say these are devilish times. You shouldn't embrace things that the devil wants and say it's modern times. So what? There's a reason why the things Jesus came to say will always apply. He said, with food and clothing, be content. Paul said that to Jacob, said that it's repeated by 3 witnesses. That if you have food and clothing, be contented. But when you want 10,000 more things, we need to have at least 3, 4, 5 cars. We need to be able to go for vacation abroad. We need to generate way more money. We need to pump out way more. We have to. That mindset that you have to is the problem. Because you didn't get it from God. If it destroys the family, it's not a good thing. I don't care how much school you go to. Don't destroy the family. Satan, in communist countries, they say men and women are the same. In many countries, they just try to make everyone the same. They push the woman to work in an office as hard as a man. Women don't have the enduring power of a man in certain things. You push her that hard, she cracks in some way. Just the stress alone will cause miscarriages. So the enemy knows what he's doing. Question: do Christians know what the enemy is doing? Do they understand it? Have they allowed the picture of Christ and his bride to be distorted? Is this how the bride... Do you understand that it's this same mindset from problematic, wrongly shaped marriages that we have brought into the church? The church, which ought to be preparing to become the bride of Christ, is also rebellious like a 21st century woman, is also hard-headed, also disobedient, also disregarding. In fact, I dare say the church started it first before it flowed over and manifested in society. The church became rebellious and resisted the authority over her head, uncovered her head, brought shame to the Lord Jesus, and then it began to manifest in families in the earth. After all, we've opened the floodgates spiritually. The enemy is very busy trying to destroy families. The challenge of this is that children are raised in families. Many countries, in many communist type countries, the government, the state, owns your child. America has been stressing it a lot. Western countries, they are very big on taking people's children. Very big. President Biden, President United States of American president, keep saying things like they are our children, our children, our children. You might hear it and think, well, yeah, like an African say, no, that one is very devilish. Our children, they want to take your children. They will take your children and give to themselves. When they give your children, when they own your children, when they become the owners of your children, they can do what they like. They can impose their education on them. Teach them things you completely disagree with, as they are doing. Let's look at some of the purposes of marriage. One would be, let me start first with some of the wrong reasons for marriage. Then I'll show you the true purpose. And I'll ask you to contribute too. All right, so get alive. One example of a reason for a bad marriage is to escape an unhappy home, yes? Many people get married because they don't want to say their home was so unhappy, their own family was so unhappy. They want to go and build a happy home. They want to move away from their own home. It looks so unhappy. That's one reason. Escaping an unhappy home. Another reason people want to marry, and this is a wrong reason, is to have freedom. All these constraints from family, from parents, and even, I don't know if I can go into everything I need to say, but some people even want to be free to live an immoral life. Yes, when you marry, people seem to trust you more. When you marry, you're trusted more, male and female. That woman can be an immoral woman, and she's trusted. That man can be, well, you already know about men. I just need to point out the one that you don't often know about. She can be pregnant for 3 different men, and everybody will say, hey, yeah, and tell your husband, happy father. And he's not the father at all. So literally, to have a devilish freedom. Some people get married for that purpose. Now I can do as I like. Now I'm not even afraid of getting pregnant. Not even afraid of getting pregnant. Because I can commit adultery, and then I'll go and sleep with my husband. It won't even occur to him to accuse me. Is that bad? Believe it. But other types of freedom would include just the freedom that comes with being a married person. Some people, that's why you want to be married. And that's not a very good reason. Some people, to escape boredom. Yeah, life is boring. I need more excitement in my life. Number 4, to improve social standing. People are esteemed more when they marry. Yes? Like me, if you marry, I'll call you madam. Suddenly, you have social standing. Where are you going? Enter the car, we'll drop you out. Walk. Yeah. At your age. Once people see someone is married, socially, there's some advantage. This one is terrible. Wrong reasons to marry, to spite someone else. Yes, people marry people to spite them. To spite others. Okay, you see now. Okay. Don't worry. They may not say it out in their hearts. All this disrespect, is it not because I'm not married? I have to. And you got married to spite someone. What kind of marriage would that be, I beg? Imagine getting born again to spite someone. What a thing. So that marriage will always have real issues, and everybody will be beating around the bush, saying this and that. Meanwhile, it's for spite. It's to get back at someone. It's to revenge. Yes, any other reasons, wrong reasons for marriage? For money, security, to escape poverty. Could we say it that way? This one you said for money. Is that what you meant? Yes. For financial security. Sometimes it's not poverty, it's just a better financial security. Yes, anybody else? Peer pressure Yeah, that's similar to improving social standing. But peer pressure, your mates, all my mates, all my mates. The all my mates song. Has anybody released a song on that? We could write something. All my mates, them be married. Me, I'm daily harried. All right, so sincerely, all that this my mates thing. Just know that people are getting married. Women, let's talk about women because with men it almost doesn't matter. Women are still marrying at 35 or 37 or they are marrying and being happy. If I had my way, all of you marry by between 17, 18 and 23. If I had my way, I'm not playing. All that school stuff, it annoys me. Doesn't mean anything. 17, 16, 17, I would have married them. If I had my way. I don't have my way. I can't have my way. You're wondering why? You can ask it in the question time if you have a question. But what's all this staying forever? What for? What's your problem? Nobody now won't go to school. But, so earlier better, in quotes. But on the other hand, you see, and this is the challenge. On the other hand, what does that guarantee? Does it guarantee happiness or peace? Not at all. We've seen them get married. and run away in 2 years. 1 year, 6 months. Run away. Wives. Husbands. Tormenting them or being tormented by them. Therefore being beaten up. It could be anything, all sorts of things. There's no reason to stay long unnecessarily. And see, in fact, I think it's part of the problem. Because all these people, you keep saying, I need to finish school. And I'm not saying you shouldn't finish school, but I wish you could do the two. In fact, I wish there wasn't so much school to be, again, past knowledge, what I've said in the past. School. Learn other things. You didn't come to this world to go to school. After all, many people that went to school don't use it for anything. School is for reading and writing. And to specialize in something you will do. Something you should do, not the one you won't touch. And now I'm talking about tertiary education. I think everyone should do primary and secondary education as fully as possible. But tertiary education, I think we need to cool down on our craziness about it. Wasting 4 years. Or 5 or 8, sorry. Or 10. What is the real purpose of marriage? Have you finished giving me other wrong reasons to marry? Happiness. You want your happiness from marriage. Happiness. We've talked about some of this in the past. You think marriage is the number one place to be happy. You didn't learn to be happy with Jesus. Jesus makes you unhappy. So all you want is to marry. So you can be happy. If I marry, I'll be happy. So you enter your marriage every day. Now I expect all of you to be following TMG, the marriage guide. And I expect therefore you've already read many of these things. Wrong reasons to be married. We are still looking at myths, and all that. So you believe that once you're in marriage, you will be happy. Where you got such an idea, after looking at your parents, how you got that idea, I do not understand. After looking at your neighbor, after looking at everybody around you, did you ignore everything you saw and go with TV, commercials? Hope. You have hope. Okay, everybody around is a fool. None of them had hope. Let me tell you, your father, your mother used to sneak out and see your father. Let me tell you, there's nothing you are thinking or feeling that your father and mother did not think and feel, including the ones that have separated for how many years. So very few of them, there are few that the arrangement was, they didn't have a hand, but many of the others. Okay, if you don't believe Nigeria, those days they joined, go to America. They've been free for 100 years. marrying anybody they like. Many of those societies, a good part of some of those countries, a good part. And where are they? So why do you think happiness? Now, should there be some joy in marriage? Yes, some. That is, it's just one of the suppliers. They say, do you know you should be happy from work? When you work and generate results, that you should be happy. The harvest of your work should make you happy. Do you know children make people happy? Good. Do you know having food makes people happy? So there are different sources of happiness, but none of them is the complete source of happiness. You get? They bring a quota, a piece of happiness. Marriage brings a piece of happiness. Is this clear? No, marriage will make me happy. No, marriage will give you a slice of the cake called happiness. But the problem is that the cake of happiness is not the only cake there is on earth. It's a layered cake. Happiness is a multi-tiered cake. 2 tiers. One level is sadness, another is happiness. In this world, there will be trouble. You have trouble. There will be sadness. So don't act like life is one big happiness cake. Life is made of happiness and sadness. Is this clear? Cold and heat, summer and winter. They will be the 2 sides in this age, in this season of life, till we enter the age in the future where there will be no sadness, no more tears. But at this time, so if you thought the happiness slice in your dual cake would cancel out all other unhappiness, you are not serious. You better wake up and smell the coffee burning. No. You can never get rid. When they cut that cake, have you seen how they slice the cake out? Half, you eat the 2. What's eating the cake with that bitter stuff inside? Icing and all. That's realistic. That's reality. I appreciate whoever put bitter stuff in the cakes. I don't know what's wrong with you, but I appreciate it. As I'm preaching now. When I'm eating it, I don't like it at all. That's true. That person, maybe they're trying to give you a taste of reality. Are we together? Once I enter marriage, all my sorrows are gone. Stop it, man. Male and female, stop it. The woman will bring me happiness. She'll give you some happiness. And she may give you sadness first. For your spouse will give you of the cake of sadness too. No. In a proper marriage, it should only be happiness. You have not read 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Those who marry will have trouble. It's written in the Bible directly. You marry, you'll have trouble. Latter part of verse 28. 1 Corinthians 7 verse 28. But those who marry will face troubles in this life. And I want to spare you this. Let me add the part the apostle said. You see, he wants to spare you trouble. He was telling some people that they don't necessarily have to marry. And I'm trying to save you from the troubles that marriage will bring. But it's okay. You can marry. He said if you marry, you have not sinned. Male or female. You have not sinned. It's not a sin. But understand that there will be troubles. Now, someone tells you this before you marry. You still went into marriage expecting no trouble. And then some of you, you see, this is a funny thing with human beings. Most human beings, you now presume, no, now there will be troubles, but I know how the troubles will be manageable. How do you know? How do you know how big your own slice of trouble will be? You don't. So it may be bigger than you think. It may be more trouble than happiness at some point, hopefully. Are you with me? Your spouse might be appointed to feed you your trouble cake, the trouble cake of your life, more than you can imagine. Many marriages all over the world, their spouses have fed. Some, both of them feed each other. Feed the bride, feed the groom. Nobody talks about the trouble cake, sorrow cake. Everybody acts like, no worry. We'll see in 2 years. Keep being fed and keep feeding. Keep feeding and being fed. Your spouse will cause you trouble. You saw what we wrote. Was it in TMG? Someone's testimony. I really liked it. That people give the impression everyone is happy. Did you read it? All that. That if only older couples were more honest, more straightforward. But you and I know that all your life, even your parents whom you have seen fight like cat and dog, you know there are issues. But outside, that the acting, they should have given all of them Oscars. Like, since you, like by now, you should have set 50 Oscars for the acting of parents. Non-stop. Any disagreement is quiet. God will help me. You people be praying for me, because me, I'm so honest that I can quarrel in public. I am so big on being real that pray for your pastor, pray for me. God save me, save my wife, save us all. I am so big on being real. The same way I will laugh, we are laughing, me and my wife are laughing, and don't come and stand outside the door. So you won't be jealous. You live your life. In the same way we will laugh. If I'm unhappy about something, I'm not a pretender. It's a big problem for me. I don't like pretend. Why do you pretend? So you see the wahala. You see someone and the only communication you hear between the man and his wife is quiet and silent and nice. Yes, dear. No, dear. Of course, dear. There's nothing like, Madam, stop it. So you see what is being built in your head? Perfection. So marriage is the place where you get the person that is always sweet and nice to you. And all the pastors teach the exact thing. Don't you understand that? Let me show you what it does. And that person said it in their testimony, which is so beautiful. Do you know what normal people who quarrel now in their marriage, which is every other person, feel? They feel their marriage is not okay because the other people don't have issues, which is a lie. But how will we know you have issues since you never tell us or never show it? You can't understand. You're always so perfect together. And even when you open your mouth and say, you people, I'm so jealous of you. All they did is smile. We thank God. They lie again. Instead of very quickly telling you, what, like me, I'll tell you, what I said, we just been quarreling in the cars. We came out. We just been quarreling. This woman. You say, leave me. You always... You see, you never see reality. It's a perfectly made up face. Till you use facial scrub. And the monster emerges. You, therefore, with your pimples, you can't come out of the house till you layer it in fakeness too. So everybody is fake. Meanwhile, if they saw you, what happens every time you see someone that has nice skin and all that, you see flaws. You that has plenty flaws, does it help you feel slightly better? Yes, if you like answer or not, that's your problem. What happens when you feel you speak such bad English and then you see those who speak better English but they stumble a bit? Doesn't it help you breathe more easily? It's not only me, I beg. I thank God it's not only me. So it's a human problem. Oh, we praise God. When you see humanity being human like you know you are, it helps you not hate yourself. But when, look at this couple, I've never seen them quarrel. Look at this one, I've never heard them. Oh God, why can't our family be like this? You don't know anything. Your family is better than the one you're talking about. Yes! Your family is better. Enter the family. Enter that family, you're saying. Enter it inside the belly of it. Then you find out that they've been considering divorce for 2 years running. You're clueless. Now, this is why fakeness is dangerous. No, madam, Tina, stop that thing. Don't be doing that thing. You're talking to your wife. Don't be doing, I don't like this thing you do. I don't like it at all. So, What were you saying? Where are you leaving for school? Okay. So your people want to come and visit. Oh, they want me to preach. What date? Oh, you want me and my wife to go? I don't know. See her then. I ask her if she can come. You can't see the dragging. This one is just to go to visit her own parents, so she won't come. Is it? Ask her if she'll come. If she'll come, you'll come. Now, so the way the average person mind works is that means the marriage is tottering on. You see, is these errors. This is wrong. Why are you not like that with your siblings? Hi, Bob. Could you pass me the sugar, please, Bob? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Will you be so kind as to pass me your plate? I'll take it to the kitchen. Is there a question of your love for your siblings? So, so you see the problem with faking things. I'm not saying you shouldn't be gentle and kind with your spouse. Take note of what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should speak how you feel. You shouldn't speak how you feel fully with anybody all the time. You can speak how you feel fully sometimes, not all the time. You can tell the person, and it may have to be in the room, then you express the full emotion. Are you hearing me? But what society has done, Christians have done, they've imposed on everybody. Preacher, everybody says it. Don't ever say any negative thing about your spouse. Don't ever say. Why? Because you link something negative being said to disaster and a crumbling. So don't you know that all fakeness is deception and the truth is what frees people? So if you're practicing falsehood, what did you think would result? I am stating by these words very strongly that the major reason for broken and bad marriages is this pretending. If you were able to say, well, me and my husband, we've been walking through some issues, just like, last week we had to go talk with pastor because there's something he does that, has always caused me great annoyance, and he doesn't see anything wrong with it. And so he had to go meet someone because we've argued over it for 3 years, no less. We've been married for 5 and da. Now, you can't even practice this if 2 of you are not in agreement to be like this. If one person does, if your husband does not agree, as you go home, you may be told to pack. But there's a level of openness that if the person knows that this is how you are, that you are open like this, and they knew these things before you were married, they knew these things long before you were, you came together. If 2 of you have heard this message I'm sharing, you carry it in your mind. You're following the same line of thinking. And then you can say, yeah, you can know that having that problem does not mean your marriage should be threatened. Do you get? It doesn't in any way tamper with the fact that you love the person. Do you understand? This is the problem with all the falsehood. It now sounds like whenever someone talks like that, it means they have fallen out of love. That's the problem with any kind of falling. That's why I tell people, don't fall in love. Don't fall. Walk. Oh, when I fell in love, don't fall. Stand up. Open your eyes. Love, open your eyes. Don't be blind. Walk. Carefully. Yes, good. Now learn how to walk together in love. No greater joy do I have that I heard my children are walking in the truth. Walk together. Step. And you grow in love for one another. Don't meander. So how do you guys, and you see the young people, how they ask questions of married people. So have you been able to maintain the fire of your love? No, today we have a lovely couple. Lie. Maintain fire of love. We are struggling. We are looking for firewood. This love. What are you saying? You be lying. Lies are never good. Oh yeah, who can challenge this thing I'm saying? That don't we act like it's presumed? It's not true. Have you heard before? They say, oh, they seem so happy together. We've heard they've separated, but they just seem so happy together. You think they were happy? They posed for the camera. They had been raised to pose for the camera. Everyone poses for the camera. Why do you know if they who were pretending their own had grown up seeing people being open, being honest? You know, my spouse does some things I don't like. If it's something embarrassing, you may not give details. If it's something that your spouse does not even agree with you at all, that it is bad, is constantly telling you there's nothing wrong with this. Since they are not as is a nothing, what are we hiding it for? This is not a matter of what happened inside the bedroom, and it is a matter of, do you know my spouse? I've told my spouse eats 5 eggs in a setting. I've warned him that when he grows very fat, you see who he'll marry. And the spouse can be angry with it or laugh and say, I'll marry you. I say, let me. I'm not even playing. You eat too many eggs. Pray for me now. What is wrong with being, you have to pretend. Everybody pretending. Therefore, nobody knows anybody has issues. Therefore, when you have issues, you think you're the only one that has issues. Once you think you're the only one that has issues, you believe we are not okay. If you knew everybody had issues, you say, do you know we are a perfect couple? Are you seeing where I was going to? When you know your situation is common, you breathe more easily. It's because you think your situation is abnormal that you overreact. Yes? You know that this small millipede thing is not poisonous. It's not a centipede. You don't go jumping and running when you see it crawling. Ah! It's not a centipede. It's not a scorpion. Do you get? When you know it's a safe thing, you react accordingly. When you know that your spouse feeling or acting or behaving a certain way is not deadly. It's not a deadly thing. It's a normal thing because you've seen it in so many other marriages. You react less heavily. Do you get? So after you've quarreled, that your quarrel, I don't even know. You try, I don't know. Come, let's eat, I beg. You get? But when you have been believe fakeness, I don't know. Bam. Boom, boom, boom. Because you're like, what has just happened between us now? Ow, is that rare event? I've heard about 3 cases on the earth recently. And it just happened in my own home too. Oh God, oh, this is disastrous. I heard of a case in 1967. Oh God. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Even your parents act fake. If not for your mother who tells you all of her version of what happened. You know it's her version. You know, only her version. You know. So it's your dad that is a problem. But so there's all this. It just goes on. I repeat. This does not help because anything false does not help. Does it mean you say everything? No. You don't have to walk around naked in this world physically for people to know you're being real. Do you get? We might lock you up in an asylum. But if you are not acting as though you 100% need to put across a perfect picture, if you could relax. If I could stand here and preach as I do and say, you know, my wife did something, I was very angry with him. In fact, let me tell you what she did. So she took the children's, what? She took my sweater. You know the sweater issue now? Who does not know? Sweater and cap. So since I'm married, I've not had a sweater or a cap. I almost have a sweater now. Yes, I have this white, nice one with stripes. I caught up with it once. I threatened that I would inform the FBI or something. And she took it off. I don't know if she wears it when I travel, but I saw her wear it once. I went like, mine, leave this one for me. We've been married 15 years. So since we married, before we married, I'm remembering, she used to feel cold before we married. That's when it started. I remember now. So you go to visit someone wearing sweater. Now so you go collect them from you. They wear. Huh? I can't remember if I left her, but I won't be surprised. So we now got married. So if there are 2 sweaters, she has one, I have one, she'll wear the 2. If she has 2, I have one, she'll wear the 3. If she has 3 or 2, I have 2, she'll wear the 4. I'm not playing 100%. See her sitting there. 100%. This is not go, come. If I had 50, she would wear them. 50. Thank God I don't feel cold. Almost at all. All sweaters are her sweaters. That's not a good example. That one is not quarrel. That one is it's just for wonderment. I just walk around shaking my head into tombo. What is it? This woman and sweaters. So she wear all at different times. She put it on. Anyways, as long as the cold was involved. And caps. Forget it. Face cap. She gives that. She's very generous. Hi God. Kindness. Hey. You need a you want to get angry. Where will you be? You stop being angry. You see, anger runs out. The chemical for anger, they finish. Some people have stroke. They didn't finish it. Give out sweater. There are things your spouse will do to offend you. Some are more serious. That's the one we don't talk about too much. Some are serious. Some are serious. Some are, it's bad. As a Christian, you ought not to do that. But you're doing it. And your spouse can tell you, don't do it. I'm more of speaking about in public. You may not come and wash all your detail, but you can say, if you're with me in my house, again, you see it. You won't, not going to hide. Say, so you did what? So without telling me, you went and did that. It's not 100% everything. I used to be like that years ago. Can I see you in the room, please? One second. Because I'm discipling people. When they've never seen me disagree with my spouse in public, again, they will believe. Why can't I be with my own spouse like pastors? This thing. Can't you see how they are? That's what you go around telling yourself. Can't you see family ABC? Can't you see? Have you ever seen where they... And that's why people... What spoils most marriages is that the spouses have to hold it in, then they explode. And their body parts scattered. They explode. It is that holding it in that is poisonous. It's releasing poisonous chemicals into your body. But if you can speak freely, I don't like this thing you do. I don't like it at all. I don't. Please. Say, I don't appreciate this way. You shouldn't have said, but this and that. But you have said, end. Those are normal human beings. This thing we have done in the body of Christ. Say, no, you can't disagree in public. Everything you can't do in public. So nobody in public knows knows reality. So everybody who is angry in public with their own spouse feels, yes, you have done very well. I think we are the only ones on earth. Well done. We take number 1 prize. We are the most shameful couple. Now I'm so embarrassed that I'm married to you. Look at us. Look at us. What? God? What, how? Why did I enter? Look at. Who has ever heard of a couple expressing a spouse expressing frustration in public? Nobody. We are the first. This is what we will be known for. But remember, if all the other couples had been normal, you would just know this is a normal. I don't like this. Don't do. You saw when Mrs. this thing and Mr. this thing and this thing last week, and this person yesterday did this thing. Why are you doing the same thing? Do you get? Because you have company and they are still married. So it doesn't cross your head that this is what crosses my people's head. All the boiling. So we are not in love anymore. This is not love now. Let's not deceive ourselves. We are always fighting. I have to find me someone else and marry who does not have these issues. But remember, if you had known everybody has it, you wouldn't be thinking like that. That you need to find someone else to marry. You'd have known that this your spouse is a normal spouse. Certified 100% spouse. Spouse. Troublemaking embodiment. You would have lived with it. Because all spouses you've come across have similarities. But here you are. Then there would have been just a few very amazing couples. You know those few? Like people that love maths and are very good in English. You know all those nonsense children that used to have A in everything. Who knows how we used to take first? Not just first. As if it's only them that work hard and came. Who knew? Did you have any of them in your class? Make sure we don't know if you're one of them. Or... Everything, just smile, dress neatly. Then they'll give a word. You just come out neatly, stand there. You remember that boy, right? Then there was the other girl. That body, right? Or Pengele, there's a Pengele version. Her hair made neat like this. You now seem as though they sent them to school and say, you escort him. I'm giving you a moment for healing. Walk it out. Breathe. Now, there are those children. In marriage, they are them too. Yes, yeah. Yeah. That's how many years now? Oh, 25 years going. So let me tell you the truth. You cannot avoid annoying people. Am I clear? Yes, some of you here might be them. They might be so annoying, very well behaved, happy. They are 100% genuine. No? Yes. So, okay. They are okay like this. They make you wonder if you married right. Every day you see them. If not for them, you'd be happier. You're married. Their fault. As usual, like that strange A1 child. There are marriages like that. The rest of us, average to see, eh? Now we dey plenty. Do you agree? You don't have a class with 70% had first class. Where? That would be an abnormal world. That's not normal. That's the ages to come. I don't know if it's this one. It will be another age to come. That's the ages to come, not now. I'm serious, so may you understand and be released from bondages you create for yourself. That couple you're looking for, thinking you should be and will be, except you're one of them. Again, first class. Now, when they do graduation, how many people have first class? 5 in a university? 2, she says. No, that's in a faculty. I mean in the whole school, in the whole university. I have a few first classes, but in a faculty, out of people that came out, 1 or 2 or 3. Law never had the University of Udoh till a couple of years ago. First time ever. What is it with first class? How you go to get first class? Wait till you write. Okay, you gotta remember all the cases I have. Who does that? You wrote it so perfectly. Wow. First time ever in history here. Because it's a humanities related thing. And then there's first class is rare. Then you come around all the marriages pretending to be first class marriages. Are you understanding? When you're struggling, you're in the verge of D and F. You're on the verge. You live on it. That family lives on the verge of failing. That's how they've been teetering back and forth for the past 15 years. That long, they've been like that. But outside, they are wearing too much. Smiling. Now, if you prefer fakeness, I apologize. But I'm not a fake pastor. If people were honest, if you could give that testimony and say, I just want to appreciate God. Not the greatest honesty I've heard said is, we've had our own fair share of ups and downs, but the Lord has always been faithful. Let me help you. Let me help you escape this bondage. We've had very significant downs, way more than ups. But recently, we've been having a few more ups than downs. I'd say maybe 70 to 30. And God's mighty hand has reached into the deep darkness of our relationship many times and restored it. When we thought it couldn't last another week, the Lord would do something, a dream, a revelation, an admonition, a timely reach out from some family, some godly servant of God would speak to us and hold us together, seemingly barely by a string. I just want to know, I didn't come to testify about our marriage, but I'd say maybe at this time we've moved from maybe a 7:3 that we were last year to maybe a 4.5:5, or even maybe 5.5, I don't know. All I want us to know is that my spouse here and I are pressing further and deeper. Our marriage is growing stronger and stronger every day. And for this, I want to thank the Lord. Being able to say that and say, how many people does this resonate with here? You've had a similar experience. And maybe almost the whole house stands up. Would bring help and healing and deliverance to every unmarried person in that place. It would add 10 years to 20 on top of all their marriages that have not yet happened. That they know this, like, all these people we've been seeing, smiling, acting like this, being like this like that. You mean suddenly? So when they would get married themselves, they will know, well, we are just going through the norm. Do you get? Can you picture a woman about to put to bed? She feels labor and says, what is this? What is this? I've never heard, Is this how it is? Doctor, remove it. Do you understand? You know, women know far ahead for years before they have a child that it will be painful. You know how much that prepares their mind? Just by knowing. When you know something. How many of you, when you enter year 1, you thought it was easy? You thought it was secondary school. Till something something did you that you is God's mercy. Or say, let's say your hand. Year 1 did you. Year 1 you and you were a star where you were coming from. King Kong. Till you hit university and discovered you are you saw those hands that went up. That's exactly the point. Same thing in marriage. Do you get? Now, how many of you know if you were told, for one, carefully, before you came to year 1, that you have acted differently? That if someone sat you down and said, listen to me, when people come in their first year, they usually make the mistake. Then it was explained to you thoroughly that if you can excel in your first year, your chances of having a 2-1 or even a first class increase. That if you can maintain it, if someone sat you down, pumped this into you, told you scary stories, told you just this simple thing I'm saying now, you know, that you'll be shocked. Make sure. Do you think you would have done better? That's what I'm saying about marriage. Are you hearing? If people are honest and told you details, instead of just saying, how many of you have for years, the most you've heard on wedding days and all that is saying, marriage has its fair share of troubles, but by God's grace, you see it through. And that's it. That's it. That's it. You don't give details. You don't give examples. So when it happens to them, they think this is not what they're talking about. It's not this type. Everybody keeps thinking what they are going through is not this type that was meant. But I'm here to tell you it's exactly that type. In fact, it's worse. What you're experiencing is the small boy version. The small child version. Your own trouble is not big trouble. People who know big trouble, they are usually men and women of God. Huh? Yes. You have not heard? What's Jerry's story? What did he say his wife caused him trouble? Did for him? Made him closer to God. Pushed him to the Lord. Years ago, Tunde Bakari and his wife would clash like crazy. Clash like crazy. So it made him to pray all the time. Already the man was prophetic before he married. After that, he was way more prophetic. Way more. Yeah. So it's not just women. It's not just women that become godly daughters of Zion from trouble. Men all over the world have become amazing servants of God due to the trouble their wife dishes out to them. They've had to run to God on their knees, seek the Lord, cry, appeal, beg for respite, get broken and reformed. Spouses all over the world. So your spouse may be the one sent to help you with some of this. That prayer life you don't have, you might develop it. I'm not playing. Make sure you remember this. Don't forget it. For some people, this may not be the route. You may already be okay. For some people, it will be another way. Maybe your boss. Okay, maybe something else. I'm just saying that it's possible. Will you still be open to marrying? Are you still open? Marriage, real purposes of marriage. To express love. You find that in Ephesians 5. If you read it from verse 28, but to 33. I didn't want to give you a verse, but it's okay. We look at 1 Corinthians. No, give me verse 21. Ephesians 5, 21. Verse 22. Verse 23. So, if you start from verse 21, it might be good. Submit to one out of reverence, even though this was not about the couple yet. It's from verse 22. Start facing the couple. Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord, and then husband is the head. Then it tells him that he's to love his wife. Okay, so how the woman loves her husband is by submitting to him mainly. Take note of what God says. And how the husband loves his wife is by giving up things for him. So if you write that down, verse 28 says the husbands ought to love their wives. How? As their own body. Mr. Man, how do you love your body? The Bible tells you about nourishing and cherishing the wife. Have you read that? You haven't? Men? I should show you the place that says you should nourish, that the way you nourish and cherish your own flesh. Huh? You men, you better not enter trouble with me. If you don't know the passages, you should know. You better know the passages, you should know. You should know some things. You must know some things. So husbands and wives, verse 33 wraps it up, summarizes it. Nevertheless, each one read for me, read.
Nevertheless, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband.
You hear that? Verse 29, 28 and 29. Now, read.
In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. Indeed, no one ever hated his own body, but he nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ does the church.
I think I need to pause briefly and explain what we are doing here so you don't see any reason to be bored about what I'm saying. Marital meandering is when people enter marriage and don't know what it is about. So you're doing all sorts of things. I'm married. Because I got married to you, does that mean? Yes, it means exactly yes, what you just said. Yes, that's what it means. To meander means to lose your way. You shouldn't lose your way about things that are clear. We are here to straighten out marital matters. Let's straighten it out long before you marry. Straighten it out, or shortly before you marry. Straighten it out. You're going to straighten it out. What is marriage about? It's not what you may have seen with your parents. That fighting like cats and dogs. That's not God's will. That thing I described was people that are growing, that have not matured in love as they should. The more you mature in love, the less the reason. The more you should be able to say what you say nicely, gently. And the less you should do things that make your spouse angry. Why should you do anything that makes your spouse angry? Why do you speak to them rudely? Why should they not speak to you rudely when you act rudely? When you are completely disrespectful and you take their property and use wrongly. On what basis do you deserve to be spoken to politely when their own is even just words they are speaking? Your spouse is speaking back words to you. You say you were rude. You took actions that have cost money. Which one is more rude? Putting your hand into someone's account and spending money from it without permission. You haven't answered me. Look at me. Pastor Ita has come. Look at me. You took someone's phone or ATM. You did purchases worth 6,000 naira without telling the person, without knowing what the money was for, what it was there for. You don't know anything. You did that. And that's as regards rudeness. You put your hand into their wallet. You set their pockets. When I found the ATM card, went and spent it and dropped it. You didn't say, may I? You didn't say thank you. Nothing. Is that rude? Someone speaks to you. How they ought to speak to you ought to be, please, can you give me that thing? They say, give me that thing, Joe. Is it rude? Question, which rudeness is worse? What has been lost? Here, your emotions have been bruised. Speaking to you rudely. The other one, 6,000 is gone, or 60,000. It really depends. What makes this rudeness of speech worse than the rudeness of spending? Do you know that whenever your lack of submission or obedience to what God says concerning your spouse comes into play, that it can cost actual money because you did not answer or you did not obey what you were told to do? It has resulted in an event that will result in 6,000 or 60,000 being spent. That's equivalent to your taking their ATM card, withdrawing that amount of money and using it. Because if you had obeyed the instruction, this cash expenditure would not exist. Without permission, without approval, you didn't discuss as to why you should disregard the instruction you were given. You went ahead and disregarded the instruction. Now it is costing money. You took the car without permission and had an accident. The car is being fixed. The fixing cost is 60,000 naira. You're going to tell me that if you had been told before you go out, tell me I will drive you. I'll send someone to take you. And you say, what? Can't I drive by myself? You disobeyed. You didn't submit. It resulted in this situation. Have you not dipped your hand and withdrawn 60,000? You don't understand. You don't like reasoning? I'm reasoning for you. You can conclude what you like with it. But be careful, because people are constantly judging unrighteous judgment. Jesus said, judge righteous judgment. So if that husband now turns and shouts at the wife, what's wrong with you? Please give me that. And you say, no. Let me tell you how people talk. People are very annoying. You hear them say things like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nothing should ever make him. Be very careful. All the wicked judgments, especially I've heard women make in this world, be very careful. What makes you think God is on your side? You're lucky he's not beating her up. Or doesn't carry her clothes. Because the real correct thing is to sell her property. You're saying no. The godly justice here is to sell her property and fix it. Really. To pack a few boxes of shoes and do auction till you raise 100,000. You pay. You leave the rest for her. That would be justice. If you did that, she would learn submission instantly. Yes, sir. Women keep looking at me. I'm trying to get you guys to. Yeah. You want mic? I can give you the mic. Speak your mind freely. I'm picking a fight. Yes, you have a contrary view. Women, don't do this to womanhood. There's a woman online saying, nobody, sending a voice note. Defend this thing I just said. Now, do you know the problem? The problem is when you take something that is wrong and make it the norm. What would I tell a man in this instance? I'll say, it's okay, forgive. That's what I would do in reality. I'm sure you too, you do things that your wife has to forgive you. That's what I would say. But I'm saying, you that presumes casually that this evil is what, why? How did you arrive at that? You didn't think it through. If you thought it through, you would know that the unfairness that she meted out to him is worse than the way he spoke to her. His is a reaction. Her own was an action powered by pride. Nothing else. This one is a reaction to great offense and cause. This other one, what was your own excuse? Nothing. You just stayed and picked the pail of water and poured it on the carpet. Why did you do that? But the other one was reacting. He was slipping on the water you poured and fell and broke the table. Are you understanding? He should have walked more carefully. But he moved too fast and slipped. His is a reaction. Yours was an action powered by nothing. Do you understand my illustrations? You need to understand it. God wants the husbands to love their wives. I'm saying, back to what I was saying earlier, this session we are having, from what we are sharing to what we will pray about, is to bring clarity as to how people ought to think about marriage. You should not think that abnormal disobedience, harshness, all those things are normal. You should grow up and out of it. But I always acknowledge reality that many people are not where they should be. The majority of people, nobody is where he should be. We have to be progressing. The further you've gone, the easier it will be in your marriage. The further you've grown in love for God and man. Not romantic love, normal love. But the less you've grown in love, the more selfishness living in you, the more pain you bring to your marriage. The more the selfishness quotient in you, the more pain you bring to your marriage. That's a fact. His selfishness that will make you cook the food that he would rather not eat, but you like it. His selfishness that will make him buy the thing that you would rather not, but he enjoys it. Now, the truth is you can get the two. You can strive for, but if you keep going for what you want above him. So that's your selfishness quotient. Everybody has still some selfishness. The more you try to please your spouse, remember, you have trouble in this flesh, yes? So you keep buying what she wants. That means you're not enjoying what you want. Is that clear? Yes, now, if there's not enough money, it's only one. So you see how that works. Now, if she's also, again, her selfishness quotient is also high, she will never stop and say, you don't like this thing now. All she keeps saying is, thank you, my lovely husband, thank you. So, thank you, instead of saying, no, buy the other one. Then when she comes, she gives you. Say, no, buy this one this week, buy this one next week. Or every month when you get your salary and buy your turn, then my turn. Does this make sense? Because we can't afford to buy the two. Then what if she says, no, and this happens many times with people. No, I will buy. He goes like, no, and goes ahead to buy the one you want because you say, for me, for you. Maybe the only way you can get him to change is this. I don't like this thing. I'm telling you not to buy this thing. Buy the other one I prefer. Then, he may now inside say, hallelujah. I don't know how you work it out without telling a lie, because that's, I'm not telling you to tell a lie. The whole point is this, that if the both parties grow in love and drop selfishness, you try to please the other. He doesn't like it or she doesn't like it when you wear your shoes. Nobody on earth likes it. No woman, nobody that keeps a place clean likes you bringing dirty shoes into. You did it once. Who knows why you did it? You don't repeat it ever again. You wore your shoes across the mushy, muddy. You don't ever repeat it. This is not, madam, learn to love. Can't you clean? What's wrong with you? Take off those clod hoppers and wear your socks in. But you that keeps complaining about what he does, have you considered, look at me, have you considered being at the door with a pair of his flip-flops, his slippers, his in-house slippers? Okay, he's holding things in his hand. That's why he does it. His shoes are laced. Have you considered being at the door when he comes? As you open the door, you say, wait, and you unlace the shoes from his feet and help him? Have you considered that will make your love grow hotter? You don't think dopamine will rush faster? Okay, you don't care about dopamine, no problem. But don't complain so much either. Have you considered keeping something by the door? When my husband comes back, why do you keep this tray here? Oh, he carries things in his hand. When he comes out, that's why so I kept it in a basket so he can dump his things inside and free his hands and take off his shoes. Have you considered keeping a basket on the porch for him to dump all those things he's holding that he often says, my hands were not free? Have you considered that would... You see, people don't sit down and think through and make an effort. When you don't desire... When love is practical. Are you understanding? Love is practical. You need to do things. Doing will do wonders. If you do, but most people don't do. They just wish for the feeling without paying the price. There's a price to generate some of the feelings. There's a price. So this meeting, amongst other things, to show you how you should be. Not how you go on and replicate what you've seen. Don't go around replicating hell on earth. Don't. Without your help, we can have that. Decide long before you marry that you want to make someone else happy together. As opposed to, I want someone to make me happy. I want someone to make me happy. This is the greatest destroyer of marriages. Selfishness. 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 Look for someone to love. Stop looking for someone to love you. I know you want love back. And I agree that you can get someone to love you. But how many of you know that your chances of reaping love increase when you plant love? The law of sowing and reaping. What did you plant? You planted selfishness. You want to reap love. Why? Why do you want to reap love when what you plant is selfishness? Plant love. Plant love. Sometimes it may not grow for a while, but when it might explode later. We've heard of people whose marriage was very difficult at the beginning. Their spouse was a real pain. Then later on, their spouse was the greatest blessing on earth. Are you hearing me? their spouse's badness drives their spouse. Do you remember the Apostle Paul causing problems for the church? Do you think the trouble he caused for the church helped power him to serve the church so well? That's how it works. So sometimes your spouse is causing you so much trouble because they will cause you so much joy later. Can you endure? I asked you a difficult question. I ask again. If your spouse causes you a lot of trouble in the earlier part of your marriage or at some point in your marriage, can you endure it with the mindset that in the future, your life or your calling may cause your spouse trouble, but they will endure it with this sense of indebtedness to you? Can you endure better because of that? With the mindset that the same way you went to school and suffered, and thereafter you are enjoying and happy due to your suffering. Have you seen pharmacists? Do you know who starts chopping money first that came out of university? That is pharmacy people. You don't know? Who do you think chops money first? Nurses. No. Well, not okay. 4 years. What do they chop? When? Internship. When? Which doctors? Doctors chop. Pharmacists have started chopping money, come back, rested, chop. Doctors are still going to school. What are you saying? If you started school with all of you that started at the same time, now pharmacists, they chop money first now. Eh? When the doctors chop money, isn't that year 7? Year 8. Pharmacy, they chop money by what year? 6. 6 years from university. Year 1 to 4, they go for internship in year 2 or 3. They go again year 5. That year 5 time, that's when I think they used to, in most Nigeria, 70K. 70K while you're still reading books. Did I expose something? Expose something? Did I break something? Lawyers, 10K. Doctors, nothing. Doctors have to wait till housemanship. By then, the pharmacy has gone for service and come back. So that's how it works. Pharmacists chop first. Good. Who suffers the most? Medical students. Who suffers the most? Wait. I say wait now. You won't even allow me finish the sentence. Who suffers the most in the first 10 years? Take notes. Think of a batch of people that went to school from year 1. They were together and they are different things. Who suffers the most? Stop calling them doctors. They are medical students first. As students. Who reads more? Who needs to remember weirder things? Who needs to apply to medical students? MB starts pressuring them in year 3? Yes, they start undergoing high blood issues from year 3 and on. But the next set of people who suffer or apply themselves a lot are pharmacists in certain areas. Yes? Now, the truth is, that pressure they have, now the pharmacist starts gaining something early. But the doctor who suffered more and whose payback comes later, comes and overtakes the pharmacist and earns more than everybody else because they also suffered the most. There's a principle I'm trying to show you. So there's something related to what you sow and what you reap. Pharmacists and then, medical students and then pharmacists are the ones that have the largest curriculum, have the greatest pressure into remembering a lot of, it's complicated, it's harder, there are few people that can cut it. That's the truth. But the one who starts gaining, if you're looking at what they will say, almost want to refer to as the top profession, it's going to be like that. If I add the engineers, Again, I don't know when those ones will start earning. If I add the lawyers, depends. But how many of you know the engineer, depending on where you are, the engineer suffers, they apply themselves less than some of this in terms of amount of info they have to give or acquire. But how many of you know that an engineer who crawls behind, slow and steady, can come and overtake all of one contract? Is not 2, 1. It's one contract, not 5. With one contract, he can make 200 million. So, Mrs. Doctor, well done. But it won't happen soon, anytime soon. By crawl, I mean, you're looking at this engineer. He's been an engineer for 15 to 20 years when this happens. But he can come and catch up with you in one. And same thing for that lawyer. One case, one criminal, political case like this. They can pay him 100 million for a brief. Yeah. He could spend 10 to 20 million running around and pocket 80 million, possibly. Now, a doctor needs to see way many more patients than to acquire that amount. You need to see a lot of people. All right. I'm talking honest money. I'm not talking about criminal money in all I said. I'm trying to say that your marriage may start being very hard. It may start hard. Do you get? But payback. Law of sowing and reaping. Another purpose of marriage is to provide companionship. Genesis 2:18. God said concerning man, it's not good that man be alone. I'm going to hurry. Another reason for purpose for marriage is to propagate the human race. Remember, God said you should multiply and fill the earth. Again, if you have not been following TMG, I don't know. That's on you. We've had nearly 200. We are approaching 200 days. Day 200. Go and follow it from day one. You learn a lot. If you have a phone, get on it on Telegram. Join the Telegram channel, TMG, the marriage guide. And learn from it. So to provide companionship is a real reason for marriage. First thing I said was to what? Express love. To give love and receive love. I explained that. Then I went on to give examples of how love can be identified. That is not necessarily the way you think, but love, I talked about sadness, I talked about different things. Love. Sometimes I look at people and I'm afraid. I'm wondering this one, do you understand love? Do you have any plan to give anyone love? You just want to be married? To sap all the love from someone's life, suck them dry and spit them out. Puh. Make sure you are not a loveless human being. Don't be dangerous like that. How many of you know God is love? God is love. 1 John 1 says, so what do? You turn to God. You go to God. You come to God. Child, you look to God and you learn love. Love is not what you read in a book or watch in a film. Love is not kissing. Sin may be kissing. Love is not kissing. Oh, no, you don't understand. He loves me. He doesn't love you. He lusts after you. She loves me. No, she's using you. For what? It's not for money. She has more money than me. She's using you for dopamine supply. Don't be a migu. Are you hearing me? What is love? Love. Love is not a feeling. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy, does not boast, is not proud. Love endures long. Love is gotten from God. You better learn love. You see a human being who does not try to love anyone around them, they come and say, marry me. Say, I beg, hold yourself first, I beg.